come and get you with those as well. So, Coach?
Celebrating 100 years at Yankee Stadium, playing our rival, the Pitt Panthers. First game was 3-0 Syracuse. Obviously a defensive battle, and I'm sure it's going to be another defensive game in Yankee Stadium. Physical bunch. Pat Narduzzi does a fantastic job, and we're looking forward to meeting them there. Before I open it up for questions, the health status of both quarterbacks I won't know until after the doctors see them. Standard stuff, and they don't see them until later on today, so I won't be able to get back to you guys on that stuff. But the team, I think we are extremely focused. We were disappointed about last week's loss, but I think these guys are united and looking forward to playing the Panthers. Questions?
Start right in front of Emily and then go to Jesse in the second row.
Dino, I think you had mentioned on Friday evening that when you have a backup quarterback in the game, you need the rest of the guys to step up around them, and we didn't really see that on Friday night. I'm just curious what the tone was and maybe the messaging from some of those older guys who were on the field with Carlos when going back through film and addressing some of the things that went wrong.
Well, I think that just like we really needed to take the pressure off of him. I thought some people did some things. I thought LaQuint had a very good day, and the offensive line did some things there. But we need to, some of those passes we didn't catch, we need to be able to make some of those plays for them.
Jesse?
Dino, how do you see LaQuint kind of carrying the load a little bit more on offense? We saw it a little bit on Friday night. Do you envision, just more touches for him, knowing the health status of Garrett and Carlos are up in the air until a little bit later tonight?
We really feel that we don't want to overload him. We've got him doing punt returns and other things like that, but he's one of those players that makes things happen when he touches the ball.
Henry in front.
Coach, Jason Beck was on the sidelines for the first time, and you said that was just to get Carlos comfortable. Whether it's Carlos or Garrett, do you see Beck staying on the sidelines, or?
That comes down to Coach Beck. He has the freedom to go up or down, and it really has to do with what we're doing that game. I think he prefers to stay up, but if the guys need him to come down, he will come down.
Did you like just having him on the sidelines?
It didn't. I've been in his shoes. I've done it at both places. It's all the preference of the coordinator where he likes it.
We go to Brent in front.
Elijah Clark had kind of a unique.
Start again.
Elijah Clark had kind of a unique suspension, I guess, for lack of a better term, for that game. Just tell me what goes into that and why he won't play his position defensively, but allowed to play on special teams.
I can't go into the details of that because it's an in-house thing, but I know that he was excited. The team was really proud of him. Gave him I'm not going to say a standing ovation, but clapped him up based off of the way he handled his internal discipline, and all things are made up, and he has an opportunity to start again on defense.
When you say the team is united, is that just your sense of football, or is that all things encompassed in that?
I think I'm talking about football. I don't know what else, classroom and socially and all that other kind of stuff. But I think they're united in this room, yes, sir.
You pass it to Emily, Brent, and then we'll go to Citrus and back after that.
So just want to make sure I'm clear. Clark's suspension is over, and he has the opportunity to play defense this weekend?
Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah Clark.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You just go right in the back here to Citrus. We'll get them next.
Hey, Coach, after the game on Friday, Justin Barrett mentioned that in practices you like to keep it consistent. After 5 straight losses, do you still plan on keeping it consistent, or are there some things you want to change up going
We
forward?
changed up some things last week. Last week was the first time that we changed some things up offensively, and we're going to keep that change that we made last week.
Are you going to do it defensively as well, or just on offense?
When we do that, it is an offensive and defensive change. So both sides have to change when we do stuff like that.
We'll go right to Jordan right there in the second row, and then back up front to Henry.
Coach, after watching the film over the weekend, other than like the 4 interceptions for Carlos, what did you see from him in the game against BC?
My biggest thing was he was when he's out there. Okay, there were some things that happened that was out of his control, and I just feel bad for him because I thought if we made some of those plays, we may have and everybody may have a different opinion. Don't judge him by one outing. It's his first time out this year. I think there's a lot of good in him, and we just need to be able to help him more.
Henry?
Coach, you've talked about just in multiple press conferences, just about the offensive line gelling and just having a lot of these injuries throughout the whole year, at least from the guys who have just been around the entire time, like Enrique, John Ray, and I guess even Mark Petrie to some degree. What have you seen from the guys who have just been able to consistently stay healthy and perform every Saturday?
You know, they're out there, they're doing a really good job in competing. There's been some, penalty issues, obviously, with that group based off of, we've talked about some of the things that's gone on in there. But when they settle down, even with all the young people in there, they really have performed better than what a lot of people think they have. But there's no doubt when you talk about the people that we have missing, Moore, Ellis, David, I mean, those guys are going to be solid starters for us, and it's going to make us, just like last year, when these guys come back next year, it's going to make our line that much better when they get on the football field.
We'll go to Samantha next.
Hey, Coach. What does Friday's performance from the quarterback position say about the team's preparation as a whole and the preparation of the coaching staff?
Well, first of all, I think when you talk about, you can't go out, what we got to do is we got to put those guys in a situation to make plays. And then they have to be able to go out there and make the plays. Those kids, I thought, were in position to make plays. We just didn't make enough plays to win the game. So I won't get caught up in that part of it. We catch some of those interceptions. We catch some of those balls. I think we're all up here having a different feeling. Now, we don't get to predict all that stuff, but our job is to give them an opportunity to get them open so they can make a shot. Their job is to make that shot, and we're not going to give up on them, and they're not going to give up on us.
Go to Brent and Emily in front again.
Coach, kind of to follow up on that, through whether it's Carlos or Garrett, there just seems to be a real struggle in the intermediate passing game. Why do you see that as a struggle? Why is this team struggling to just throw the football in general?
I don't really see it as the struggle. I know that the numbers don't dictate that stuff, but to me, it's about making plays. You're trying to stretch the football field, and there was balls thrown in the middle of the field. We didn't catch them. Okay, but you need to attack the entire football field and make sure the ball's hitting all the areas.
The change with practice, Garrett had mentioned last week, Garrett Schrader, that you guys were doing one-on-ones, like first team versus first team in practice. Is that the change you're referring to?
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
It's okay. And then, I mean, with potentially your top two quarterbacks limited in practice, how does one-on-one look this week in practice from an offensive standpoint?
It'll look like all the guys that are fresh playing against each other, making sure the best plays against the best to make sure that both sides of the ball is ready for fast starts.
And then with potentially both of them out, has there been any talk or consideration of Dan Villari switching back to quarterback at all? I know obviously he hasn't been at that position for almost 2 years, but he has the experience.
We have backup quarterbacks, and we feel that Dan's doing a really nice job where he's at.
Henry and then Samantha again.
Coach, if it's going to be Carlos, do you feel comfortable with him being your starter? You said on the press conference after the game just that you don't know if Garrett's going to play the rest of the season, but if it is Carlos, are you comfortable with him being the starter?
I would be comfortable with whoever the family decides to put out there, that we can do enough things around them to settle them down so they can have an opportunity to be successful.
We'll go to Samantha and then back over here to Maddie.
Coach, I want to know, in a little bit of a tough stretch right now, what would be your message to recruits that you're in contact with throughout the course of this week and this month?
The one thing about our recruits is those young men are normally committed. I believe they are committed. They read newspapers that people write from Syracuse, but they also speak to me. And I speak to their moms and I speak to their dads. And that's the thing that a lot of the things that those young men love about us is the culture that we have. The same culture that makes us suspend somebody for a game or half a game, because there's certain rules that we're not going to break, but we're all going to own up to them.
Maddie.
Coach, heading to Yankee Stadium this weekend, a neutral site, what are you looking forward to most, especially playing Pitt?
A win. But of course, Pitt's trying to do the exact same thing. I don't know about, it's exciting to go to the Yankee Stadium. It's exciting for the guys that haven't been there. Now, I want to say this is our third trip since I've been there. And the whole walking around and knowing, Babe Ruth and all the people that have played in that stadium, it's kind of cool. But I think it's more for the young men that haven't been there, and it's more of a young people game. You guys know me, I'd rather play at the Dome and turn the air conditioner off. But I get it. We'll go down there and we'll play Pitt, and it'll be 100 years since the first game, and it'll be fun.
You can pass that right back. Oh, you're good? All right. Next question. We'll go to Henry in front.
Just from last season, Carlos started against Pitt. What were some of the things Pitt was doing well against Carlos, and what was Pitt doing overall well in that game?
You really don't want to, they have tape on him, and we have tape on, obviously, Carlos going against them. But again, when you start changing offensive line and changing personnels, it's about matchups. And the matchups are going to dictate where we're going to attack, and the matchups are going to dictate where they're going to attack. Now, they do have tape on him. They have seen him from this year, which is an advantage to them. But a lot of that stuff from last year doesn't really apply to this year.
Emily?
Jaden Bellamy was out on Friday night. Do you have an update on him? Are you expecting him to maybe be available this week?
I hope he is available this week. I really do.
And then I think Jacob Bradford went out at halftime again of this game. Any update on him?
No update on Jacob yet.
Samantha?
Coach, Dwight Frey honored at halftime. I want to know if the alumni stay in contact with you at all, and do they provide any insight into, I don't know, what's going on or any advice that they have to give?
Dwight Frey was speaking to the football team the night before the game in this room and did an absolutely amazing job. If you guys didn't get, I believe they videotaped it. I thought some was on the internet. I'm not great with all that stuff on the internet. But I was so impressed with not only him opening up his heart to the young men, but the pride that just poured out of him from Syracuse University, someone that's been in the profession for 16 years. I want to say he said he's a 16-year vet, which is unheard of. And I mean, this is not a Syracuse thing. And you go 16 years at you go talk to the best of the best, especially a defensive end who's in such a physical position. I mean, quarterbacks may do it, kickers may do it, but that got me stuttering. It was one of the most impressive, I'm going to say conversation talks that I've seen with this. Not the most impressive. Jim Brown was really impressive. I couldn't talk around Jim Brown when he was alive, and he did it. And Floyd Little's had some amazing talks with this football team as well when he was alive. And we've had a lot of the guys come back, but Dwight was really something. And it was a good message. And I really believe some of the things that he said is still with those kids after that loss, and they'll be with us going to play Pitt down in Yankee Stadium. That's a fantastic question.
Anything else for Coach? Brent, and we'll take one more after that if anybody's got it.
Coach, whether it be recruits or anybody asking about kind of the state of the program now, you're struggling, people are questioning if you're going to be the coach. What do you tell them when they ask you if you're going to be here beyond this season?
Brent, my big thing is this right here. I believe in God, family, and football. My football is my ohana, which is the young men at Syracuse University. That being said, the only thing I'm thinking about is going 1-0 versus Pitt in Yankee Stadium, and that'll stop a lot of that stuff that you guys are writing about.
And then Emily, the last question right there.
Would you say your team's headspace is in that exact same place as you?
I would like to think they are. If they're a part of the family and they've been with us long enough, I know they are.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.